My name is Anders Molander and I'm the former chairman of the Swedish Hemophilia Society. I was the chairman between the years of 2012 and 2016. I'm going to talk about the cooperation between patient organizations and governments in Sweden. Hemophilia, which is what we focus on, is heavily dependent of factor concentrate for treatment to achieve normal blood clotting. Treatment is very expensive and it is government subsidized. Treatment is necessary to avoid joint bleedings and inner bleedings, which can be fatal actually for the person having hemophilia. I would like to go to the next slide. Our organization, which has about 1,500 members, is funded by the Swedish Parliament in the basic structure. That is, we get paid for having an office with one employee and some basic member paper sent out 4 times a year. There are about 50 organizations concerning disabilities of various kinds in Sweden, and we are one of them. All of them are formed by patients. For our part, we were formed 50 years ago and were active, I would say, very active from the start actually. We have a democratically elected board. The board consists of between 7 and 9 persons, and we are organized nationally and regionally. Apart from the government funds, we are also funded by the private. There is we apply for private funds. We also get donations and we get willed money, which makes us able to perform more than just the basic information work. While we get money from various sources, it is very important for us to stay independent, and we have this supervision that we will, and we will also have written this in our statutes, that we are going to be independent in all ways and whatever we can do. What we think that's a good approach, especially when we meet governments and when we meet companies. To continue, I will show you how the structure when procuring drugs in Sweden works. As I already told you, we have subsidized the expensive drugs. That is where you can say that the cost is above, let's say, a couple of $100 a year. And especially for us, this is important. It's almost impossible for a person to pay for his own treatment. To govern this, we have this organization called the TLV, which is the Dental and Pharmaceutical Benefits Agency, and they are supposed, and they are also doing the regulations of Swedish pricing and availability of drugs. Their focus are that the drug is efficient, that it is safe, that it is available, and then there's also the question of price, which is of course a matter of quite some importance. Various stakeholders take place in the process of deciding the price and deciding the availability. There is also a requirement from the Swedish government that the drug shall be available at equal terms all over Sweden, which means that there will be some kind of distribution of cost, which is negotiated between the Swedish county organizations. They make the negotiations by meeting and deciding where is the drug used most and where is the possibility to pay the best. This will make the cost distribution quite complicated, and it's also regulated by a second government, not TLV, but all efforts are made to actually make this an equal rights drug. I mean, not just our drug, all drugs in Sweden are handled this way. The pricing will be in Swedish crowns, which means that it may vary with the fluctuations of rates, exchange rates. And it's also important to mention that the actual purchase of drugs are made regionally. That is, counties or municipalities that do the actual purchase. To continue, what we are quite proud of as an organization is that we were involved in the first, or almost the first, of the TLV procurement processes in 2012. Here I try to reach out and point out the various stakeholders here. The 2012 example is interesting because TLV was actually not very experienced. They were formed in 2002, and most of the first years were spent in putting this idea of equal rights distribution of costs and so on. They were working with a lot of questions actually, and when they finally came to the cost of treatments, various treatments, it was found there were quite a lot of expensive treatments, and they were rising sky high when you looked at the cost for each country. So we also had an increasing number of types of treatments. Many companies, actually I would say that every company that applied were allowed in the market, and this made the market overflowing with various concentrates. This is not always the case when you look around Europe. This was the case in Sweden. So there was this important decision to be made. What treatments should stay, what should go. There was no actual new treatment in 2012. The process was about to decide which ones should stay. The process started in 2010, and we were asked to contribute from the start. We are quite proud of being being early in here. We asked some medical experts to help us, and we wrote quite a comprehensive overview of the market. The outcome in 2012 was excellent for us. The treatment stayed, all treatments stayed on the market. There was a slight decrease in expenses negotiated with the companies that of course wanted to stay on the market. That's mainly why I think they agreed on decreasing their pricing. And we got all the treatments staying under the subsidiaries. This was of course our goal and very important for us. So there was a weak point when we made the report, and there was actually no decision made on whether the treatment was efficient or not. It was just a walkthrough of the market and a decision on pricing. So TLV came back. They came back in 2017 and asked us once again, is there some way we can reduce cost? And this time the demands were a lot higher, which is what I point out down here, that we got all drugs but one stayed on the market. One old and quite pricey factor concentrate was removed. And the saving this time, notably also after a shorter process time, was that we got 200 to 300 million less cost per year. The state is actually saving this amount through the work of TLV, and this is what the agency is for. So they were very satisfied, and we are very satisfied ourselves with the outcome of this. Generally though, there is a discussion about what drugs shall be accepted in Swedish market, and there has now been a decision to not let one of the new drugs enter the market, and We are in a discussion about this, but the current decision is that we should stay with the already allowed ones. Thank you for listening, and bye.